Incredible moment exposed. 8-year-old black girl faces discrimination until her mother's heartwarming stand for justice. Kayla Matthews sat at her small desk, a flurry of crayons and construction paper surrounding her. Her heart raced as she carefully drew the bright sun and lush green trees, swirling colors that danced across the page, a vibrant reflection of the dreams swirling in her mind. But at school, those dreams collided with a harsh reality. Moments after revealing her art project during class, laughter erupted. Who would want to see that? A classmate scoffed. Kayla's smile vanished, replaced by a tight chest and tears welling in her eyes. It felt like a spotlight on her failures, her art no longer a source of joy, but a weapon that cut deep. Her mother, Tasha, a single mom with unwavering strength, noticed the change in her daughter as soon as Kayla walked through the door. The skip in her step was gone, replaced by a shuffle that echoed her disappointment. Tasha's heart ached seeing her little girl struggle. "You're an incredible artist, Kayla. Never forget that," she whispered, pulling her into a warm embrace. But Kayla only shrugged, her dream horizon dimming under the weight of harsh words. As Tasha battled her own feelings of helplessness, she recalled the scars of her childhood, the prejudice she overcame, the resilience she clung to. "Not my child," she whispered firmly to herself. Determined to shield Kayla from this cruelty, Tasha scheduled a meeting with the teachers and parents at school, her voice shaking but resolve fierce. "We have a responsibility to lift our children and honor every piece of art, every voice," she pressed, desperation mingling with hope. Yet, when the school assembly came, it felt like the world had turned a blind eye. Instead of addressing the hurtful remarks made at Kayla's expense, the adults adorned the event with a superficial band-aid, warm hugs and passing smiles. Tasha's heart thudded heavily, anger bubbled within her as the crowd clapped, oblivious to the silence that screamed in their ears. "This isn't enough," she thought, fists clenched in frustration. She resolved to create a change that rippled beyond their small school. Weeks passed, and Tasha organized a community art event, reaching out to neighbors, inviting everyone to showcase their children's artwork. Kayla hesitated, unsure if she wanted to display her piece. "What if they laugh at me again?" she murmured, uncertainty draping her spirit like a heavy blanket. But Tasha squeezed her hand tight. "This is your voice. Don't let anyone silence it." On the day of the event, vibrant images adorned the walls. Laughter mixed with gasps of awe as families shared stories behind each piece. Tasha looked around, pride swelling in her chest. As the principal finally spoke, the audience hushed. The moment was electric, every eye focused in anticipation. "Today, we recognize the beauty in our differences," he started, his words hanging in the air. But as Kayla stood there, battling her own turmoil, she felt a whisper of doubt. Would these words genuinely heal the wounds? Would they see her? Tasha glanced at her daughter, their eyes locking with shared resolve. The sorrow faded, replaced by a fiery hope. What next would they create together? The room vibrated with emotion, community blossoming around them. But as Kayla clutched her crayon-drawn masterpiece, her heart thumped with a burning question: would she ever find acceptance in a world that focused so heavily on differences? The answer hung precariously in the air, the next chapter waiting just ahead. The assembly hall buzzed with energy and excitement. Families wandered from piece to piece, marveling at the creativity displayed on the walls. But as Kayla stood by her artwork, she felt a mix of pride and fear swirling inside her. What if they don't like it? She thought again, anxiety clenching her stomach like an iron fist. The bright crayon colors she once loved began to dull in her mind. Tasha, observing her daughter's restless feet tapping against the floor, made her way over. "Look at all these smiling faces. They're here to celebrate you, Kayla," she said softly, kneeling to meet her daughter's gaze. The warmth of her mother's words wrapped around Kayla like a comforting blanket. Yet, the shadow of past ridicule loomed just behind her. "But what if someone laughs?" Kayla whispered just loud enough for Tasha to hear. "Let them laugh, Tasha replied, a fierce glint in her eyes. They won't take away your talent. You are brave for sharing your heart. In that charged moment, Kayla felt a flicker of courage ignite within her. She looked back at her drawing, the sun beaming down with a smile, the trees swaying like dancers. This was more than just an image, it was her world, the world she wanted to share. A soft voice broke her thoughts. Can I look at your picture? A small girl stood beside her, eyes sparkling with curiosity. Kayla hesitated but slowly nodded, her heart pounding as she turned to face her. It's so colorful. Did you make this all by yourself? The girl exclaimed, leaning in closer. The innocent admiration sparked something in Kayla, a warm blush rising to her cheeks. Yeah, I did, she finally managed, a smile breaking through her fears. Can I draw with you next time? The girl asked, a hopeful smile on her face. Yes. That would be great. Kayla replied, her heart swelling with joy. The unexpected friendship lightened her spirit, and she felt her confidence begin to bloom. As the principal wrapped up the assembly, he introduced a special segment, a chance for anyone who wanted to speak about their art to step forward. The weight of it hung in the room. Who would dare to stand up? Kayla's heart thumped loudly, a mix of determination and dread settling in her throat. Should she? Would she? Tasha sensed her daughter's internal battle and nudged her gently. You have a voice, Kayla. Use it. No one can tell your story but you. Drawing in a deep breath, Kayla stepped forward. The room seemed to hold its breath along with her, eyes turning to the small figure with the crayon masterpiece resting against her chest. She felt the warmth of Tasha's support behind her. Hi, I'm Kayla, she started, every word feeling like a leap into the unknown. I drew this picture because it makes me happy. It's about being brave and dreaming. Even when other people don't see you. A soft murmur rippled through the audience. Was that admiration or something else? Her voice strengthened as she continued. Sometimes it hurts when people don't understand. But art is my way of speaking, and I want everyone to know they can be brave too. Applause filled the room, echoing against the walls that had once felt so intimidating. Heart racing and cheeks flushing, Kayla stepped back, a wave of exhilaration washing over her. She did it. She spoke her truth and felt the warmth of acceptance start to wrap around her. Tasha's eyes brimmed with tears of pride as she pulled her daughter into a fierce, loving hug. You were amazing, baby. You belong here, she whispered. But even as joy danced in the air, deep questions lingered in Kayla's heart. What would tomorrow bring? Would she be held up by this newfound strength, or would the doubts creep back in? The air was thick with unresolved emotions. One thing was certain, Kayla had stepped into her light, but the shadows were still very real. As she looked around the hall filled with brightness and hope, her gaze drifted to the door. What comes next? Kayla wondered. With every heartbeat, another question unfolded, teasing at the edges of her mind like colors waiting to be drawn. Kayla stood at the edge of the assembly hall, heart still racing as the applause faded. The warmth of her moment was like a soft glow, but creeping in the corners of her mind were shadows of uncertainty. She leaned against the wall, eyes focused on the vibrant energy around her. Families laughed and chatted, children showcased their works, and yet, she felt a gap growing between her and this newfound joy. Tasha watched her daughter, the chipper chatter of other kids and families a distant echo as her heart swelled with pride. You were incredible. She exclaimed, beaming. You faced your fear and shared your light. Kayla smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. What if tomorrow is different? She pondered aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. The thought that so easily sparked bravery moments ago now felt like a stone in her chest. Every day is a new chance, sweet girl, Tasha replied, wrapping an arm around Kayla's shoulder. You don't have to know what's coming next. Just keep shining your light. As they walked away from the gathering, Kayla spotted other kids her age confidently sharing their artwork and engaging in conversations. Frustration bubbled within her, she longed to join but felt anchored in insecurity. The innocent admiration of the small girl replayed in her mind, a reminder of a world less daunting. "Mom, what happens if they laugh tomorrow?" The question hung in the air, weighty and solemn. Tasha crouched beside her, meeting her gaze with understanding. "If they laugh, it means they don't understand. But your happiness, your voice, that's what matters. Hold on to that." The next morning, Kayla trudged into school, clutching her drawing folder tightly to her chest. The hall buzzed with voices, laughter, and the sound of lockers slamming shut. She felt small, a weight pressing down on her shoulders as the sight of people gathered made her stomach twist. Her heart echoed the fear. This was her everyday reality as much as it was filled with dreams and art. Entering her classroom, she found a group of kids huddled at the back, sharing stories. She stood at the door, hesitation tearing at her resolve. Suddenly, one of the boys, Marcus, looked up. "Hey Kayla, saw your drawing at the assembly. It was really cool." Her cheeks flushed unexpectedly. "Thanks," she replied, the word escaping her in a whirl of surprise. Another girl chimed in, "Yeah. You should hang it in the art show. Everyone would love it. Right, guys?" Laughter erupted from the group, and Kayla's heart constricted. Were they laughing at her? She tried to laugh along, but the sound felt hollow. Staring at the vibrant colors of her drawing resting in her folder, she felt like an imposter. A wave of doubt crashed over her. What if this attention turned sour? What if all she wanted to share invited mockery? At lunch, as Kayla picked at her food, her thoughts spiraled. Thoughts of yesterday's bravery mingled with fear. She saved a spot for the little girl who had admired her art, but the knot in her stomach was tightening. Was she even ready to face potential negativity? Suddenly, the girl appeared, bright and cheerful. "Hi, Kayla. I brought my crayons, do you want to draw together?" Kayla blinked, hope flaring inside her. She hesitated, sensing a shift in her heart. An invitation to create instead of questioning what lay before her seemed like the light she craved. She found herself smiling, setting aside her doubts. "Sure. I'd love to." As they set up their little drawing corner, Kayla felt the shadows recede just a bit. Each crayon color they shared was like a promise stirring something deep within her. Yet, even as excitement bubbled in her heart, questions still lingered. What if she faced a different kind of challenge? What if tomorrow revealed something far more complicated? But for now, Kayla took a deep breath, crayon poised in hand, ready to see what colors tomorrow would bring with it. The smell of fresh crayons and paper filled the small corner where Kayla and the girl, Mia, settled. They sprawled on the floor, the vibrant colors of their art supplies sprawled around them like a rainbow awaiting its turn. Kayla felt a flutter in her chest, a mix of anxiety and excitement. She glanced sideways at Mia, who was already scribbling in a burst of creativity. "What are you drawing?" Mia asked, a grin brightening her face. "I want to see." A lump formed in Kayla's throat. The vibrant strokes of her imagination formed a beautiful scene in her mind, but sharing it felt daunting. Swallowing hard, she said, "It's a garden with flowers of every color." Mia's eyes widened, filled with admiration. "Wow! That sounds amazing. I'm drawing a castle, but it's a magic castle where the flowers talk." Kayla chuckled. Laughter felt good, a simple pleasure that lightened the weight of her worries. She picked up a blue crayon and began to sketch, losing herself in the flow of creativity. As the lines unfolded, so did a nascent hope. In that moment, the chatter of the lunchroom faded into the background. Each stroke of the crayon felt like a whisper, urging her to break free from the cocoon of uncertainty. For the first time, she realized that sharing her art could be a form of connection, a bridge instead of a barrier. Just then, a group of girls flitted past their corner, giggling loudly. One of them, a girl named Ashley, paused. "What are you losers doing? Playing with crayons?" Her eyes flicked over Kayla, her smile dripping with disdain. Mia's smile faltered, and Kayla's stomach twisted. The laughter from Ashley's group echoed in her ears, sharpening the shadows of doubt that had been retreating. Kayla clutched her crayon tight. "Yeah, we are. It's fun." Mia shot back, her voice steady, but Kayla could see her discomfort flickering like a candle in the wind. Ashley rolled her eyes, striding away with a mocking laugh that trailed into the distance. The laughter bounced off the walls, a painful reminder of how easy it was for joy to be shattered. Kayla felt a wave of sadness wash over her, threatening to drown the spark of creativity that had ignited. She looked at Mia, whose expression was a mix of sympathy and challenge. "Don't let her get to you, Kayla. Your art is important," Mia whispered, her eyes fierce with determination. Kayla inhaled deeply, the weight of the moment grounding her. She remembered her mother's words, the encouragement to share her voice and not allow others' opinions to dim her light. "Let us keep drawing," she said, her voice braver. "I want to create that garden." Mia nodded, the determination returning as they both focused on their pages. The colors danced between their fingertips, and Kayla poured herself into the drawing, pouring out the worries, the laughter, the snide comments, transforming them into flowers blooming on the page. With each new stroke, she remembered the joy she felt at the assembly. "I can do this," she thought, pushing away the tightness in her chest. But as the afternoon light filtered through the classroom windows, the echoes of laughter still lingered, reminding her that not everyone viewed creativity the same way. As the bell rang and the classes shuffled, Kayla gathered her drawing with a newfound sense of purpose. "What if I hung it in the art show?" she whispered, glancing at Mia, who nodded fervently. But just as she felt the warmth of possibility, a doubt crept in again. What if it was too late? What if she was too late? The bell faded away, replaced by the sound of footsteps and conversations. Kayla stood at the threshold of making her dreams known, but a genuine fear gripped her. Would her art be met with disdain or appreciation? With her heart racing, she took a step forward into the bustling hall, crayon tightly in hand, ready for whatever came next. Kayla took a deep breath as she stepped into the hall, her heart pounding against her ribcage like a drum. Everywhere she turned, clusters of kids laughed and chatted, some glancing at her curiously, others barely noticing her presence. The colorful drawings in her hand felt heavier than ever. Would they see the beauty she felt into the garden or ignore it like those girls had ignored her? Mia walked beside her, a steadying presence. "You're going to do great, Kayla," she said, glancing sideways with a grin of encouragement. "Just think about how happy you'll make people when they see it." Kayla managed a small smile, but doubt burrowed deeper. What if they laughed? What if people didn't understand? Her fingers grazed the textured paper of her drawing, reminding her of the joy she felt while creating it. Each flower she drew stood for resilience, happiness, and the bright colors of her hopes. As they moved through the thick crowd, Mia pointed toward the bulletin board at the far end of the hall. "Look! The art show sign-up sheet. It's right there." Kayla's gaze followed Mia's finger. The board was covered in bright, smiling faces drawn by students from different classes. Each piece told a story, each vibrant stroke a voice heard. She felt a wave of inspiration wash over her. This could be her moment to share her voice too. "Can we go sign up?" she asked, her voice soft but urgent. "Of course," Mia replied, her excitement bubbling over as they walked toward the board. Kayla hesitated, standing before the sign-up sheet, the cool paper beneath her fingertips grounding her. She took a deep breath, steadying her nerves. Just as she reached for the pen, a familiar voice cut through the chatter, piercing her with memories of laughter and scorn. "What are you doing?" Ashley stood behind her, arms crossed, a smirk plastered on her face. Kayla's heart dropped again. I am signing up for the art show, she stammered. Ashley scoffed, tilting her head as if amazed. You think anyone wants to see your silly flowers? You'll just embarrass yourself. Kayla's chest tightened. The echo of Ashley's ridicule acted like ice on her creativity. It ignited the doubt from before, making her wonder if this was really her place. But then she glimpsed Mia beside her, eyes narrowed with defiance. Don't listen to her, Kayla. Your art is cool, and it means something. Each word from Mia was like a lifeline, pulling Kayla back to the surface. She thought about the flowers she had drawn, the garden blooming with colors that told of triumph. Perhaps Ashley's words didn't have to define her reality. Kayla straightened up, feeling a flicker of fire ignite within her. My garden is important, she whispered, remembering those flowers would never wilt under the weight of someone else's laughter. In one swift motion, she grabbed the pen and signed her name on the sheet. The simple act felt monumental. There it was, proof of her dreams taking form despite the fear lingering at the edges of her heart. Mia cheered softly, and Kayla could hardly believe it. Her name was now part of that board, part of a different narrative than the one Ashley tried to impose. But as they turned to walk away, a sinking feeling took hold. Would anyone even appreciate what she had created? Kayla's excitement battled with anxiety as they made their way back toward class, a whirlpool of emotions tugging at her heart. What if the flowers she painted weren't enough? What would happen when the big day came? As if sensing the undercurrent of her fear, Mia squeezed her hand and said, You're going to shine, Kayla. I can't wait for everyone to see your garden. But deep down, Kayla struggled with a question that haunted her thoughts. When the time came, would she have the courage to stand tall and show her true self to the world? The school bell rang, drowning out the noise of her swirling thoughts, and as the classrooms filled with students, Kayla wondered if she was even ready for what lay ahead. Kayla sat in her first class of the day, staring blankly at the teacher as the lesson droned on. Her mind wandered to the art show, the sign-up sheet now a part of her reality. She glanced at Mia, who was doodling flowers in her notebook, a mischievous smile on her face. The sight made Kayla's heart flutter. Hey, what are you going to draw? Mia whispered, leaning closer. I don't know yet, Kayla replied, feeling butterflies twist in her stomach. I was thinking about the garden. Mia nodded enthusiastically. That's perfect. Just remember how you felt when you created them. You're not just showing art, you're showing a piece of yourself. The words hung in the air, filling Kayla with a warmth that briefly chased away her anxiety. Yet as the day dragged on, doubt began to creep back in, whispering lies that curled around her like a shadow. What if no one got it? What if her drawing was just ordinary? When lunch arrived, the cafeteria buzzed with noise. Kayla and Mia found a table, but just as they sat down, the familiar din quieted for a moment. It was Ashley, flanked by her other friends. They strolled close, their laughter ringing out like tiny daggers. Did you sign up for that art show? Ashley called, her voice dripping with mockery. Kayla's face flushed. She felt small, and for a moment, she wanted to hide. But Mia was already standing, hands on her hips. Yeah, she did. And it's going to be amazing. Ashley raised an eyebrow, feigning disbelief. Oh, I can't wait to see those silly flowers. I bet they look just as dumb on paper as they do in your head. Kayla felt the weight of her heart crashing down on her. Why does she always have to do this, she thought, wishing she could sink into the ground and disappear. Moments like these made her question not just her art but herself. But then her mind flickered back to that split second when she signed her name on the sheet. Wasn't that an act of bravery? As if sensing her turmoil, Mia leaned in closer, her eyes blazing with determination. Kayla, just remember, they can't take away your happiness in creating. Your flowers mean something. Kayla tried to smile, but the effort felt heavy. What if nobody likes them? You're not doing it for them, Mia said firmly. You're doing it for you. That's what art is about. Perhaps that was true. Kayla's heart began to rise, embers of resolve glowing in her chest. She wouldn't let Ashley's words snuff out the fire she'd ignited. The rest of lunch went by in a blur of chatter, but Kayla's thoughts raced. As she toyed with her food, her mind whirled with visions of her garden come to life, bright petals reaching for the sun, colors blending into a symphony of joy that no voice could undermine. After lunch, they meandered through the hallways, some students stopping to admire the art show sign. Kayla's name was now part of a tapestry she hadn't realized she could weave. That thought sparked a timid smile on her lips. This wasn't just about drawing flowers anymore, it was about planting seeds of courage within herself. But as they neared their classroom, Kayla's heart sank again. She spotted Ashley with a group of friends, whispering and smirking in her direction. The twinge of fear clawed back at her, and Kayla's resolve faltered. What am I going to do when the art show arrives? She whispered to Mia, her voice shaking. Mia put her arm around Kayla's shoulders. You'll go up there and show everyone just how special you are. I just know it. But deep down, the fear that hung around Kayla's heart still remained. As the bell rang, signaling the end of lunch, she struggled to believe that she could stand tall against the weight of not just the show, but everything else. Did she have what it took? Would the moment she'd been waiting for bring liberation or more doubt? With that swirling in her mind, the classroom door closed behind them, and Kayla could feel the tide of emotions rising again, leaving her to wonder just how far courage could truly carry her. Kayla settled into her seat, the classroom light feeling harsher than usual. The chatter of her classmates blurred into an indistinguishable hum. While the teacher scribbled notes on the board, Kayla's thoughts spiraled back to Ashley's cruel remarks. The shadows of doubt crept into her mind again, burrowing deep. What if no one cares? What if everyone laughs? She thought, biting her lip hard enough to taste blood. But just as despair tightened its grip, her phone buzzed quietly in her pocket. Sneaking a glance, she saw a message from her mom. You're amazing, Kayla. Don't forget that. Love you. A small smile broke through her worry, warmth bleeding into her chest. As the lesson continued, every minute felt like a countdown to her impending art show. Despite Mia's encouraging words, the fluctuating tides of confidence haunted her. Drawing had always been a refuge, a world where she could express herself without limits. Yet now, it felt riddled with traps waiting to ensnare her spirit. Just remember, she whispered to herself, you're doing this for you. Once the final bell rang, Kayla's heart raced. I can do this, she thought as she and Mia walked towards the art room for their after-school meeting. The art show loomed ever closer, a dark cloud tainted by anticipation and fear. Each step seemed heavier than the last. What are you thinking about? Mia asked, her voice brightening the gloom around them. Kayla hesitated, then replied, do you think it'll matter if I put my heart into it? Mia raised an eyebrow, confusion mixing with concern. Of course. Your heart is what makes your art special, Kayla. That's what people will see. Just then, they turned the corner and nearly collided with Ashley and her friends. Kayla's muscles tensed, memories of taunts flashing before her like a slideshow. But this time, instead of looking away, she held her head high. I'm doing it, she thought fiercely, drawing strength from Mia beside her. Ashley caught her eye. Well, if it isn't the flower artist. She sneered. Her friends erupted in laughter, the sound piercing through Kayla like shards of glass. Kayla's bravado wavered. How could she stand tall when all she felt was small? Ignoring her classmates, they walked past Ashley, and with each step, her heart raced. The art room door loomed before her, a portal to either triumph or tragedy. As they entered, the teacher clapped her hands, gathering attention. Okay, everyone, we'll start preparing for the art show. I want you all to focus on what you love most about your artwork and share it in our next meeting. The voices around her blended into a muffled hum. Kayla found her space against the wall, her feet tapping nervously as ideas tussled in her mind. What if my flowers aren't good enough? She whispered, her voice a mere wisp. Mia turned to her, determination simmering in her eyes. You'll never know until you try. Just picture them, the colors bursting, the happiness they radiate. That's what you should share. Kayla nodded, picturing bursts of color exploding from her drawings, like fireworks lighting up the night sky. Maybe Mia was right. Maybe her artwork held a piece of her worth that no one could take away. But just then, her phone buzzed again with another notification. She glanced down, and the world seemed to pause. It was a message from her mom again. Remember, it doesn't matter what they say. You were born to shine. In this moment, Kayla realized something profound. The criticism was simply another voice among the chorus. The real question was, could she drown it out? As she began to sketch in the corner, a sense of possibility sparked within her. What if this show became the canvas for all her fears to fade away? An unexpected excitement vibrated through her. But was she truly ready to face the challenges waiting ahead? Would she find her courage, or would Ashley's words continue to gnaw at her confidence? The clock ticked softly in the background, and Kayla felt the weight of uncertainty pressing at her chest. What would it take to silence the fears and finally let her art speak for her? The art show was getting closer. But for Kayla, the true battle was only just beginning. Mia glanced over at Kayla, who had been staring at her sketchbook with furrowed brows. "Hey," she said gently, "you okay?" Kayla blinked as if waking from a dream. "Yeah, just." She sighed, her pencil hovering above the page. "I don't know if I can do this." Mia moved closer, her vibrant enthusiasm shattering through Kayla's cloud of uncertainty. "You've got this. Just think about how far you've come. We're all nervous, but you're not alone." Kayla's mind raced. What if the others didn't see the beauty in her flowers? What if they just saw a girl who drew? Would Ashley's laughter haunt her forever? Her heart pounded as she craved the encouragement that had once felt so abundant. "Let's start brainstorming what you want to say about your work," Mia suggested, her voice animated. "What do your flowers mean to you?" Kayla paused, remembering the feeling she had when the colors danced off the pages of her sketchbook, vibrant and alive, much like her dreams. "They represent hope," she finally said, her voice strengthening. "Hope for better things, for people to be kinder, to see beauty where they don't expect it." Mia nodded excitedly. "That's it. You have to share that." The words danced in Kayla's mind like fireflies. She could envision a future where her art wasn't just a means to escape, but a voice for change. Wouldn't that be amazing? To create art that people bonded over, something that challenged perceptions and sparked conversations? But just as a smile crept across her lips, a throat cleared across the room. It was Ashley, the familiar smirk plastered on her face as she leaned casually against the wall, flanked by her friends, who seemed to enjoy the drama. "What are you planning to say, Kayla? About how you copy your mom's flower designs?" The laughter came, high-pitched and ready to pierce through whatever boldness Kayla had mustered. In that moment, Kayla felt like a balloon losing air, her visions deflating before her eyes. "Don't let her get to you," Mia whispered fiercely, her hands clenching into fists. "Just keep focusing on your message." Kayla took a deep breath, trying to hold on to the strength Mia was offering. She thought of her mom's encouragement, of the love that flowed between art and her passion. Maybe Ashley didn't understand. Maybe she didn't see the world through the same lens of hope Kayla saw in her art. Gathering her thoughts, Kayla turned to Ashley, her voice steadier than she felt. "Actually, my flowers represent a lot more than you think. They're about resilience in a world that often overlooks beauty." The laughter faltered. For a brief moment, surprise flickered in Ashley's eyes, making way for something deeper. You think your little art show is going to change anything? Ashley scoffed, trying to regain control. But Kayla saw the crack in her confidence. Yes, because it will make people think. And that's where change starts. Kayla's pulse quickened as she realized that she had set the challenge. Was she really standing up for herself? Mia beamed at her, pride radiating from her smile. It felt empowering, yet terrifying. What if her words fell flat? What if Ashley and her friends mocked her again? But then Kayla remembered her drawings. Vibrant, alive, filled with bursts of color. For once, the idea of being seen felt more enticing than the fear of being laughed at. As the bell rang, signaling the end of their session, Kayla felt a flicker of excitement mixing with her trepidation. What's next is big, she thought, her eyes shining with renewed determination. Standing up for herself was just the start. The art show was breathing down her neck. Would her voice resonate? Would her flowers flourish under the spotlight, or wilt before the laughter? Only time would tell, but she felt different now, stronger. And this was just the beginning of what she could create. As she left the classroom, Kayla's heart raced. She could still feel the weight of Ashley's words hanging in the air, a challenge etched into her mind. Yet, there was also a new spark. She had stood up. That small act of defiance was enough to make her feel like a warrior, ready to take on anything. Mia, wait up. She called, hurrying to catch up with her friend, who was chatting with a group of girls by the lockers. A wave of warmth washed over her as she joined them, wishing to hold on to that spark a little longer. Did you see Ashley's face? Mia chuckled, her eyes wide with excitement. You totally threw her off. Kayla looked around, the laughter echoing off the locker walls. For the first time in what felt like ages, she felt accepted. These were her friends, her support team. They had her back, and that was more powerful than anything Ashley could throw her way. Thanks for standing by me, Kayla said softly, glancing at Mia. I really needed that. Always, Mia replied, sticking her pinky out as if sealing a promise. Kayla smiled and linked her pinky with Mia's, a small gesture that meant the world. As they walked toward the cafeteria, the buzz of conversations filled her ears. It was a typical day, yet it felt different. Every sound was amplified. The laughter, the shouts, even the clanking of trays seemed to harmonize in her heart, weaving an intricate melody of hope and friendship. They grabbed their lunches and settled at a table near the window, sunlight streaming in and casting patches of warmth on their faces. Kayla's stomach fluttered as she imagined her flowers on display, so vibrant and alive, and for the first time, she dared to picture her mom in the audience, nodding with pride. Mia, what if I told my story when we open the art show? She blurted out, the thought bubbling to the surface unfiltered. What if I talk about my flowers and how they came to be, you know, the struggle and what they mean to me? Mia's eyes lit up. That would be amazing. People need to hear that. Kayla's fingers itched to draw, to transform the swirling ideas in her mind into something tangible. I want them to see the love in my work, not just the colors, she continued, her voice gaining strength. I want them to feel what I feel. Just then, the door swung open and in walked Ashley, her circle of friends trailing behind her. A sense of dread seeped in, but Kayla forced herself to take a deep breath. She wasn't going to let them dim her light today. Look who it is, the artist of the year, Ashley said sarcastically as she approached their table. What, you think people want to hear a sob story about your flowers? Please. Kayla clenched her fists under the table, but Mia shot a defiant look at Ashley. Actually, yeah, they will. Because her flowers matter. Kayla blinked, taken aback. Mia was standing up for her again. It was a moment of solidarity, a shield made of friendship. Kayla could feel the fierce support wrapping around her like a blanket. Maybe someday you'll understand what real art is, Mia added, her voice steady. Ashley opened her mouth to retort, but something in Kayla shifted. Glancing around the cafeteria, she noticed other students taking interest, some whispering to each other, all eyes on the unfolding drama. In that moment, Kayla felt a wave of empowerment wash over her. Without thinking, she responded, "I'm not here to change your mind, Ashley. I'm here to express myself." Ashley scoffed, but Kayla saw the surprise and uncertainty flicker in her eyes. The laughter from earlier now felt distant, a fading echo amidst the growing demand for authenticity. As the bell rang, signaling the end of lunch, Kayla felt a new resolve bubbling over. She was ready to reclaim her story. What if this was the turning point? What if her flowers could inspire others? With her heart pounding, she gathered her things, ready to take on whatever came next. But could the courage she found today hold through the mounting pressure of the art show? The real challenge was yet to come, and her moment of truth was just around the corner. The day of the art show arrived, and the air buzzed with anticipation. Kayla walked into the school gym, her heart a thundering drum in her chest. Colorful drawings adorned the walls, each piece a testament to creativity and hope. But today, it was her garden, the vibrant crayon creation she had poured her soul into, that awaited its turn in the spotlight. "Are you ready?" Mia asked, bouncing on her heels beside her. Kayla took a deep breath, fingers lightly grazing the edges of her artwork. "I think so, I hope so," she whispered, her stomach churning with nerves. But as she looked around, she spotted her classmates admiring each other's work, fingers pointing at colorful flowers and swirling skies. A sense of community enveloped her, and she felt a fluttering of hope. Tasha, her mother, arrived shortly after, her eyes wide with pride. "Sweetheart, this is amazing. Look how much love is in your art." Tasha squeezed Kayla's hand. The warmth of her mom's words filled Kayla with a sense of home and belonging. "Thanks, Mom," she replied, her voice steadier than it had been for days. As the assembly kicked off, the principal welcomed families and students, spotlighting the creativity surrounding them. Kayla's heart raced, but she stood tall, knowing the time was drawing near. When would it be her moment to shine? Then the principal made the announcement. "We invite our young artists to share a few words about their work. Who would like to begin?" Kayla looked at Mia, who beamed with encouragement, nodding as if to say, "You can do this." Kayla's breath caught in her throat. Adrenaline surged through her, nudging her forward. She stepped onto the stage, heart hammering, but the warmth of the crowd's eyes steadied her. "Hi, I'm Kayla," she began. Her voice trembled, but she felt power swell within her. "My drawing is about a garden, the one in my dreams." She could see whispers and smiles ripple through the crowd, faces she recognized. Feeling a spark of courage, she continued. "These flowers represent hope. They're about dreaming big, even when others don't understand or try to put you down." She pondered her past in that moment, the laughter that once stung, the uncertainty that had swirled around her. "Art is how I express myself. It's my voice, and it's important to share it. I hope you can see the beauty in it, too." The gym fell silent. For a heartbeat, it felt like she was the only one there, words flowing from her heart. "Don't let anyone tell you your story doesn't matter. We're all different, and that's what makes us beautiful." Applause erupted, washing over her like a warm embrace. Kayla's heart soared, and she stepped back from the microphone, eyes glistening with tears of joy. As she rejoined Mia, the buzz of admiration surrounded her like a sweet melody. Tasha's arms wrapped tightly around her. "You were incredible. I'm so proud of you." But just as celebration swirled, Ashley's voice cut through the kindness. "What a surprise, Kayla actually spoke. Didn't he think you'd have the guts to?" But this time, Kayla didn't retreat. She looked at Ashley, not with fear but with strength. "It's not about you, Ashley. It's about sharing art and creativity. That's what real bravery is." The laughter that had once pinched her heart faded, replaced by a new light, the glow of acceptance and understanding from her peers. They nodded, encouraging her to stand tall, and she felt the tide turn. Mia beamed with pride, fists pumping in victory. The other students surrounded Kayla, offering compliments, admiring her work, respect blooming in the air. In that moment, Kayla knew she had transformed. She wasn't just a little girl with crayons anymore. She was an artist, a creator, and most of all a voice that would not be silenced. The art show continued, and as Kayla's garden of flowers hung brightly against the wall, every color told a story of resilience, bravery, and hope. Tomorrow would come with new challenges, but instead of fear, she felt a rush of excitement swirling inside her. She had found her voice, and it was beautiful. Now, remember that your support means the world. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss out on exclusive stories like this. Leave a like to help feed the algorithm and make our community grow. Comment below how this ending made you feel. We want to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see Kayla's inspiring transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.